What is up, everyone? Welcome into episode 77 to the show we go. Feels like it's been a long time since me and Ed got together for an episode. It's probably
Is
it's been since preseason, I think.
is this season two? Is this our season two premiere? Like, how does this
Y-
is that what this is?
yeah, we'll go with that. Our guest today, I think I told Ed this earlier. First reoccurring guest on the podcast, actually. We had Mr. Taylor Broadway on 7 months ago at this point. I just had to look that up. It was November of 2023. So a lot has happened since then. Obviously, you'd already had the Tommy John and
Yeah,
everything.
that was like right after.
Yeah, I think we got you. Like, I think I asked you to come on the show, and you're just like, "Hey, man, like, I'm a little busy right now. I'm gonna need you. Like, can we push this a month?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, no worries." And then you post an Instagram photo of you in a hospital bed with after surgery. So I had you right on after. But Taylor wanted to let's just start us off, man. What are you up to these days? What's it been like this year?
Definitely been, I feel like I feel like everybody, once you get hurt, kind of tries to prepare you for what's in store. And you really don't, I guess you really can't really like mentally prepare yourself for all that. I feel like you kind of are just like, oh yeah, it is what it is. I'll be fine. But like, definitely has not been easy. I don't really, I've caught myself I caught myself watching baseball a lot. And then I've also caught myself not watching, but like in spurts, right?
Right.
Kind of get the urge and then sometimes don't watch it at all. But really just it's had its ups and downs. I mean, I'm healthy in every aspect, but gets monotonous for sure. I mean, but I will say I'm thankful I have a good crew of guys that are down here that you know of, like Walter, Murphy, Uberstein, Michael Fulmer, who we signed in the off season, Nick Judice, who just was traded to us in the off season, and Justin Reamer's been around, as you know. He's
Love that kid.
So we have like who else? Max Ferguson, Don.
Is Whitlock there?
No, he's not. No. So as a crew, we've just tried to during the weeks, because it's so easy to come home and not do anything. But we've started getting into hobbies and things like that. So just trying to get your mind off of sitting at home thinking, basically.
Yeah, we talked to Zach Bryant last year, who went through the Tommy John surgery also, and that was the thing that I still remember him talking about this, and just the mental health aspect of it, and how you think that you know what it's going to be, but you've been doing this thing, you've been doing this trade that is pitching for most of your life at this point. Like, it's got to be a big part of your identity, and then trying to figure out who you are without that. What have you learned about yourself throughout this process?
No, I think that's definitely a great point and a huge point, because I know when I first got into pro ball, I would say baseball was a big part of my identity. I feel like it's kind of hard for it not to be, because you're now like, this is, you play in college. Like, yeah, you're going to school, you're playing in college. But once you get drafted for it, now you're getting paid for it. You're like, okay, this is my job.
You're a professional baseball player, and
right.
There's, no matter what, that's unavoidable that would be a part of your identity. That'd be insane if it wasn't.
And there's obviously a healthy balance of that. So I think that's definitely part of what probably most people struggle with, I would say, when they do get hurt. And that's why we've probably started implementing things that we're doing here, is like, it's so easy for you to find your happiness in baseball, maybe even your sadness in baseball. Like, it can, when it's so much of your identity. Like, I remember my first professional season, when I struggled, I was real down. And then whenever I was doing really good. I was real up, you know, I'm super happy. And I think this is definitely a time to figure out like deciphering a healthy balance of like it, you know, for example, we started playing pickleball. We've started bowling a lot. We did mini golf for a little while, like, you know, going out and having dinners together, just stuff to break up the I'm here in rehab. I go to the field every day. I come home, I sit on the couch, so on. Like creating a, I guess, different identity, finding, you know, who knows, I never would have played pickleball probably until I was probably out of baseball and like retired and older, you know, but now I'm playing pickleball and I love it. And that's now a hobby outside of, I used to just only play golf, that I have for, you know, something, I guess, different than my identity of just baseball.
I will say, I just heard Chris Murphy was on a podcast the other day, and he said you were a sneaky good athlete, that you were a little under the radar, because you guys had picked up bowling and a lot of other things. Did you not tell them that your dad was a professional bowler before you did that with him?
I think I mentioned it. I did mention it. I don't know if it kind of just like went under the radar. But yeah, I mean, I pulled up some videos for my roommates so I'm with Uberstein and Judice in a house right now, and I pulled up, there's like an old video of my dad from, I don't remember what it was, like before I was born, so I think it was early 90s, just bowling with like, you know, some guys that are professionals still to this day, and they were just like, it's wild, like out of all the hobbies we choose, you know, I mean, which there's like, you know, there's only so many you can do, and especially with it being so hot here in Florida, it's kind of nice to go inside somewhere and find something to do. But yeah.
What's the routine like? Because you're saying you go to the field, you rehab, you come home. What do they have you doing as far as getting your body back, getting your arm back to where it was?
Yeah, I mean, I will say it's probably the best shape I've probably been in my entire life. Which, because it's probably goes, I mean, that's probably solely because that's all I can do is work out, right? Like, I mean, I've started throwing now, but just it's been a whole, you know, loads of working out. But I really don't mind the schedule here because we get our afternoons to ourselves. But really, I would say just a typical day is I get up around 7 a.m., go to the facility, grab they have breakfast in the cafeteria, and then we'll go get some treatment in the morning, get stretched out, whatever that looks like. And then if I'm throwing that day, throw at about like 9:30, and then come inside, do whatever conditioning I have to do. Then probably my workout starts probably around 10:30 or so. Finish workout 11:30, then post like arm care, shoulder program, extra treatment that I need maybe like after I had thrown that day. And I'd say eat lunch around 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then shower and go home.
What is it like with the FCL season going on? And obviously you got, you know, a lot of guys around. Obviously you mentioned, you know, the rehab group you're around, but do you guys like stick around and, you know, hang with some of the young guys, or kind of like intermingle with them at all?
I would say not. I would say right now, not so much with their season going on, because there's a lot of times that they are playing at 12 and they're kind of like in the facility, you know, say they're playing somewhere else at 12, you know, they're kind of leaving early in the morning to go play. Or if they're playing here at 12, they kind of have their own stuff going on, but we are around them plenty, definitely in the weight room. We're around them plenty because sometimes we do work out around the same time. But it's like the other day, like they had a rain delay or something like that, and we were all eating lunch and stuff, and I ended up going over there, and they were playing dominoes, which I like. I learned dominoes once I got into pro ball, but which they, a lot of the Latin players love to play. So I sat down and played with them, but still need some better Spanish to be able to communicate with them sometimes.
I feel that.
I was gonna also follow up too. I don't know. This one's you may have kind of already answered it a little bit, but now that it's mid-July right now, the season's in the second half. What has been? You can give me a couple answers to it if you want, but what is like the thing you miss the most about playing like at an affiliate level?
I could probably go two ways with this, and one being I obviously miss just playing. I mean, that's probably the, number one. It's probably a lot of people's answer. I just miss playing. I miss like that. And that's where I've kind of enjoyed what we've started to do is we're such competitive people, right? Like that's all I've known to do is be competitive and want to beat the other person. So now with us doing the mini golf and the bowling and the pickleball, like it gets, obviously we're professional athletes, like it gets competitive. And so I think obviously that definitely helps doing that, but I miss that competitive nature. I miss, striking guys out and having a good outing on the mound. But in another sense, I also miss I miss the road trips, and I miss the camaraderie, the playing cards in the clubhouse, or ping in Worcester there was ping pong in the clubhouse with the guys, being on the road. And I remember a couple of times just hanging out in the lobby with some of the team, which like I'm still hanging out with guys here, but I think it's like when you're on the road and you're playing together, it's just there's a little difference to it,
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Going to the back to the pickleball. I'm just curious. Now, have you ever played tennis before?
I played tennis like maybe once or twice in my life,
right.
And
okay,
wasn't was really hard.
So I played a lot of tennis growing up, and I always found there to be a little bit of a connection between tennis and pitching, just in that you versus the other guy mentality. And that you kind of have to have that us versus them mentality, or me versus them. Fuck all of you guys. I'm gonna destroy you by myself. Do you find that with pickleball there are any similarities with that? Because I've had some friends trying to get me to turn me on to that, and I'm a little bit of a snob. Like, no, you don't understand. I grew up playing this totally different game. This feels like that with training wheels on. I don't know if I want to do it.
Absolutely, and I could see that coming from like somebody that played tennis, right? I don't know. I think I find myself when we play pickleball. So we've been playing duos, 2v2. But I do find I've watched some people play, these professionals play pickleball, and they're real, I guess, tedious or strategic with their they kind of play slow. We may do that from time to time, but really when we're rallying, we're hitting it hard, right?
Right.
But I definitely find myself if I slam one on them, the guys laughed about it the other day because I just maybe the reliever mentality, closer mentality that I have, where I just I get fired up. So
oh yeah. You hit one, you smash it past them, you just want to scream, It's that's such a relatable feeling. It feels good. It feels good.
Yeah. And I will sometimes let them know about it, and I get it back as well. So, which is deserved.
I wouldn't expect anything less. But I know earlier in the show, you had kind of said that you go through phases where you like watching baseball, then you go through phases where you don't. How close are you paying attention to, like, Worcester or Portland or Greenville or any of them? How close are
Or
you paying
Boston.
attention to? Oh yeah, or even Boston. Like, are you paying attention to any of them?
I'll be completely honest. I think I've definitely checked in a few times, but I really haven't looked at all. I think it's partly because when I was playing, I think I would check scores from time to time and just like check on my buddies, even around the league, like former people that I played with, right? Um, I really haven't looked at what's going on much at all. I will, but we'll say like probably once a month. I might pull up the MILB website, and then as far as the Red Sox, I have watched them. I've definitely watched them a few times, and I have the MLB app, so I will look at MLB. But I think it's just kind of a thing where it's like maybe I just don't really want to look. I guess I don't, because I'm not playing. I don't really.
Oh, I get that. I get that completely. I'd be angry isn't the right word for it. I feel like it's just this degree of almost like existential frustration because that's where you've been there and you're ready to go back to that. And you can't yet. And it's sort of just like having to watch all of these other guys do what you want to be doing. And it's not like you're rooting against them or anything. Those are your buddies, but you want to be there, right?
Absolutely. And I think that was a hard part for in spring training, was because I was here. Everybody came flooding. So I was here before everybody because I came right after the break, right at January, right after the new year. And I really wasn't too far along still yet. I mean, I didn't start playing catch till April. So I was still in the, very basic stages. And that's when everyone started flooding in for spring training. And I'm just, it's hard to not be a little jealous and things like that. I think you don't think about it as much, but it happens very, like, maybe subconsciously that, these guys are getting ready you hear people talking about getting ready for bullpens, or you hear people talking about them throwing in the big league spring training game and so on. And you're kind of like, dang, I'm over here laying on a table for an hour with doing wrist curls or whatever. Whatever it is, shoulder program.
Yeah. Like you're not doing the fun stuff. Like
No.
you're going to be, I mean, do you find comfort in the fact, like, A, you're in the best shape of your life, and B, that for the most part, when guys come back from the surgery that you've had, they come back a bit stronger, they come back throwing harder, more flexible?
I think it's absolutely, yes, to answer your question. And I think it definitely, what am I trying to say? I've gone through a little bit of waves of, like, it's been hard to have that motivation for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But at least for right now where I'm at, I think maybe seeing some progress. I've really, like, dialed in some of my nutrition, obviously the weight room stuff, and everything in between. And I think it's just, at times it's like once I kind of started feeling a little bit better and really taking that mental approach of, like, okay, this is the time that I could take that may turn my career around. This could be my last shot, hopefully, who knows, seriously, like, but I have next year to come in and hopefully be, stronger than I've ever been. And if the cards fall in the right place, then they do. But at least I just think, like, what better time to hone in on everything with all this time that I have now, So
yeah, hearing you talk about that makes me think about two of, I think both of them you played with both of them, and they're in the majors now with the Red Sox this year. Cam Bouger and Zach Kelly, who both really went through a lot to get to where they are. I mean, with Kelly having like blowing out his elbow and having to come back from that, and then having that happen a second time last year, and then Bouger, everything that he went through. I mean,
Right.
being out of the game for 4 years. Do you look at their experiences and their success in the majors this year? And I'm not sure how much of it you've been watching, but I mean, these guys are your teammates. I'm sure you've at least seen it to an extent.
For sure.
Do you look at that and almost think like, okay, if they can do that, I can do that too?
Absolutely. And not taking anything away from them whatsoever. Boozer's story is incredible. I've been around Kelly a little bit. I didn't play with him. I don't think I ever actually played with him in Worcester. But I've been around him in camp and things like that. He's a great guy. I think it really goes to show that things can, I think something that has been told to us, and it really goes to show that you could wake up one day and before you know it, like you're up there and you're having success, and then you're there, right? Like you've proven yourself. You've taken, advantage of the chances that you've been given, and that's all it takes really sometimes. And I sometimes think that it's the hardest part is almost like getting there. Right? Like, I think we're all so talented. I would say a lot of guys in AAA can pitch in the big leagues and have success. I think it's right time, right place, right time of just getting there. And I think a lot of guys, if they got there, would have success. I mean, we're all super talented, but they've obviously are having great years. And yes, it gives me hope that obviously instilling that confidence that, my life could change if things go the right way, and I can just cliche to say, but control what I can control and throw hard and throw strikes.
I mean, there's so much truth to that, though. Not only control what you can control, but the level of talent at AAA, it's a holding tank. It's a holding tank for the young guys that are coming up, and it's a holding tank for the guys that have been there and aren't there now, but they've shown that they certainly were able to get there. And it's almost like playing the lottery in some ways. You guys have already come so far. You guys already have this incredible ability that you've proven over and over again. You wouldn't be up there. I don't think anybody gets to AAA by accident. I don't think anybody gets to AA by accident. You have to earn that.
I think those are those are the maybe outlier leagues. I don't know how you want to call it, but yeah.
There's a guy that I talked to, and I just remember this. I think it was 2013. He played for the Braves one year, but he goes, "That's where you separate the men from the boys with AA." And that's I don't know if that's still true, just since they've gotten rid of like short season A and everything, but that's always been traditionally the cutoff there. Is like if you made it to AA, you're a really good player. You've done something, and then AAA, you're just in that holding tank. And it's the mental struggle of that. And I don't know if struggle is the right word, but that's got to be so tough. Just knowing that you have this ability, are you ever going to get the opportunity? And then once you've been given it, like how long does that even last for? That's so much. Absolutely. For any person.
I think, I think it's one of those things where if you would have told my even senior year high school self, like I would be, I have to really think about that sometimes. Like I do, because it's so easy to not be grateful, right? Or not, people talk about having gratitude and being thankful, but it's like, if you would have told my, senior year self at just under 18 years old that I would be 27 and still playing baseball, like, even though I haven't made it to the big leagues, I would have told you you're great. Like, what? Like, there's no way. But I mean, obviously, I'm not just completely satisfied with where I'm at. I obviously want to make it to the big leagues, but I think it's really cool to just sit back and be like, yeah, I mean, I will keep pitching as long as they pay me. You know, that's my hopes and dreams, and hopefully it's for 10 more years, you know.
It is crazy because I just had this conversation with two of your former teammates in Worcester this past week, and Chase Sugar and Nick Sogard. Both of those guys are just right
Love
there.
those guys.
They haven't made their debut yet. They're good enough to play up there, and they're just like
Sogard was good enough. Sogard should have gotten called up last year, honestly. Like I don't know what he has to do to get a 40-man spot. It's ridiculous.
He's such a good player.
Yeah, and Shug's having a fantastic season. He's got a new sweeper that's running 24 inches. Like Trace was just going in detail about it for like 5 minutes the other day. But it's like those guys, though, like just like what you were saying, is like everybody there is good enough, and it's just like they could be playing up there. And it's and to think about that, I went back and look at your because I was kind of doing some looking back with the draft being this past week. Like you only got drafted in 2021. So it's like it's
pretty recent.
Like 3 years ago.
I was an older guy, though. Yeah. You know, that's the only thing. I mean, I think I was drafted at 24. Like, I think Drew
Earhart was 26 in Double-A.
Yeah, but
so it happens. That's all I'm saying. Like sometimes there are older guys. Sometimes guys make their look at Boucher, 32-year-old rookie.
Yeah, and I mean, Taylor, you made it to AAA like in 2 years after you got drafted. You started the year in Worcester in 2023. So it's like, it's I don't know. It is kind of crazy to look at it because I don't know how, like Ed was saying, like without short season and stuff, and it might be new with like the domestic reserve list like being shortened and all that. But getting to AAA 2 years after you get drafted, even like 10 years ago, is like impressive. So, yeah, I don't know, but I don't know where I was going with that. But I did have a question about the scar. Are you planning on getting a tattoo on it or anything, like the old Jabba Chamberlain or anything?
No, I don't plan on it. I have one tattoo, and it's on my left wrist. And I've thought about maybe possibly having another tattoo from time to time, but I've always thought I'm just going to keep it left side. I don't really want to get a tattoo on my arm. I don't know.
Don't want to mess with the moneymaker.
Yeah, I guess.
How is she looking on your
wrist? It's really good, actually.
Oh shit!
Like it kind of like makes it look darker right now, but I feel like when you're in person, it really.
I don't really. If you were to be far enough away from it, I don't know if I'd notice it. Honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like technology, like advancing, because like I feel like 10, 20 years ago, it was like real gnarly looking.
It was. I mean, I got mine from Meister. Meister's incredible, and it's like compared to some other people that I've seen, it's definitely one of the thinner, smaller ones for sure.
Now, when you meet another guy that's gotten it, do you guys just immediately compare scars to each other? You just pull it out and you're like, yeah, what do you got there, man?
I don't know about immediately, but I think there is times where you kind of wonder and look, and it's funny how many people ask to see the scar too. They're curious. I mean, it's something they'll have forever. Be able to tell my kids.
What's the tattoo on your wrist that you have?
It is my so here. This is it right here. It's just Roman numerals. It's actually my little brother's birthday.
That's cool.
Yeah, I would consider him like one of my best friends by far. So,
is it true? Do you chicks dig scars?
I'm not really sure.
One way to find out.
I haven't really like gone around the bar or anything and brought up that question. I don't even think that's a conversation that I've gotten to really. I kind of try and keep the baseball talk in, out not right away,
This is how you're a professional. You're going through all of this, and in my head, I would just be wearing like a tank top all the time and just like, oh yeah, look at this. Look at this.
I got something.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to be a different topic, but
Yes.
I did have something for you to look forward to on your return. They added something to the Worcester locker room.
Couple things actually
that you might be a big fan of. Well, other than the pets, they have like an ant farm in there. That's not really what's very exciting.
That on Twitter.
That's a little too weird for me, but they added a
Jamie
golden
Westbrook.
tea.
Oh, I think I saw your tweet on that. It was who bought?
I think Grissom bought
Grissom
it.
bought
Grissom, yeah.
Wow.
And I guess Isaiah Campbell bought
is
like a cappuccino machine or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
They're running out of space.
They're doing it big this year.
It looks a lot different than when
I'm
you
missing
were
out.
last there. Dude, it's incredible.
Is the golden tea like a hot commodity right now?
Dude, every single time I walked in there last week, Brad Keller was constantly on it, and then I've seen Nathan Hickey's been on it a ton. It's a hot commodity.
Does Suge play it?
I feel like he doesn't. I never see him playing it.
He's a big golf guy.
Yeah, but he's taken his locker room clubhouse leader thing very seriously, which I applaud him for that, by the way. But he's kind of the guy now. Like he's been there since 2022, I think. So he's kind of taking that a little serious. He's got the corner locker in the far corner, so he can watch everybody.
He'll let you know about it too. That's my guy.
All right, Ed. We're coming to the end of this. What do we have to finish us off?
What do we have to finish us off? Jeez, you make this sound like something horrible's about to happen. Trade deadline's coming up. You've been traded. What's going through for a lot of these minor league guys right now that might be players to be named later, or they might be a prospect that if you go on Twitter, you'll see your name thrown into an offer and you're like, who is this person talking about me? Like, what are these guys going through right now? What were you going through at the deadline when you were dealt?
I think really you don't really expect it, right? You're like, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you're in this organization, and maybe even the way I thought about it was like, oh, that'll never be me. You know, one of those kind of things where you're like, that won't happen. There's no way that's gonna happen to me. Like, White Sox drafted me. I'm with the White Sox through.
You're a White Sox,
right? Until you wake up, or it's post game one day and you get called into the manager's office, like, you got traded to the Red Sox, you're going to Portland, you know? Or I get a call and tell me I'm going to Portland. So from Alabama. Yeah, I mean, just a complete difference. But I think I can't speak on behalf of like maybe some of the top prospects, which, those are probably more so the guys that get in those blockbuster trades, I guess you would call them.
Hypotheticals, yeah.
I don't really know, but I think for majority of us, it just kind of, you don't expect it. And I think, especially for me, even with the player to be named later thing, and I might have talked about this before, it's like we completely forgot about that trade happening and there being a player to be named later. And then 30 days later, or whatever the deadline was, they called on me. And so I think for a lot of them, like especially when you're in season, like you're just playing, like you're playing.
Yeah.
I'm sure people see stuff on social media, but like, I don't think you really think about it too much, but it's crazy that trades are unique and crazy. And it's also a great opportunity for people because, for a prospect that gets traded for a big leaguer or so on and so on, I'm sure y'all know this, but it just adds a little bit of a asterisk in your resume or, star. So it's kind of wild.
Is there any other profession where that happens where like, yeah, we're trading you, this human being, for another human being, and good luck, see you later? Like, is there anything else where that happens in besides professional sports?
Oh, does that happen in the corporate world? No,
No, does it? I don't know. It's a great question.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't know. Luckily, I don't know that.
I don't think it's ever happened to me.
Hasn't happened to you yet? They haven't sent you over to a different like engineering firm down the street or something?
I don't know that I know of. Like, that's good. But were you? Did you see, by the way, the Red Sox did draft a Ole Miss pitcher?
Yes, I did see that, and I'm not sure if I've met him before, if I know him or not, but I'm sure they are going to be around here pretty soon, so I'll get to meet him and talk all about that. If he signs, I guess. I don't know if he's going to sign. But that was cool. I'm glad, I did see that. I'm glad I got some ties with somebody. So
yeah, I got a lot of shit thrown my way yesterday for a tweet I made. I had a lot of furious people about it, by the way, in my mentions and in my messages about. I made a tweet that I listed out all the guys that the Red Sox drafted that went to SEC schools, and I'm just like, dude, these guys, like, they're battle tested. They played the best competition in the country, like in college, because the SEC schedule is insane. And people were just like, oh, but like, he didn't go to North Carolina. He didn't go here. He didn't go here. I was like, dude, SEC, like the national championship or national champion last year. No, it's Tennessee, whatever. But it's SEC, man. It's the way that you guys had to play every single week. You played Vanderbilt, Florida, LSU, South Carolina. It's like you guys are playing like stacked rosters every single week, and it's like it battle tests you guys. I swear by that, but I could be wrong.
I'm biased, obviously. So
I am too. I could be wrong, but
there's been some crazy takes out there for sure about SEC, like baseball stacking up and to professional baseball at times, and I'm not gonna really feed into that or anything, but I will say it definitely prepared me in the greatest way possible. I played in front of big crowds, played against the best competition that I think is the best competition in the nation. The last 6 national champions have been SEC schools. I don't know if there's much more to say at that point, but I'm just thankful I got to. That was ultimately a dream of mine. I don't know if y'all know, but I could have went and played and actually hit back in the day at other schools, but I wanted to play at the highest level I could play and decided to just go pitch. And I'm glad I do miss hitting at times, but I'm glad I made that choice because I got an experience in something that I think it prepares people the best way. And I think you see that, like, for the most part, when guys get into pro ball, like, and you see that with drafts that are happening now, they're taking these college guys that are proving themselves, and not just in the SEC, but in general, and throwing them in the fire, and most of them are doing well. I mean, obviously Skeens is an outlier, but that's still he comes out of college, and I think they're taking into consideration more and more what proving yourself in college at that level of baseball does. So,
all right, I got 2 quick ones before we go. Questions for you. One, I have to bring food into a podcast. I have to. I'm not going to ask you like the silly like whatever questions, but what has been the thing you've eaten the most in Fort Myers being on your rehab?
The thing I've eaten the most is kava.
Love kava. It's so underrated, man.
And I will say, I had not had kava until I've been here. Now I have kava like back home. I have not. It's nothing like I haven't been around it. I just never tried it, and I think it was like right before spring training. I got kava, and now that is like a staple twice a week at least.
Don't hate it. I respect it.
And then eating wise as well, I cook a good bit. So like I keep it pretty simple, but I cook salmon and I cook steak. Don't really branch out too much more, but so I've eaten a lot of salmon and steak.
All right.
I'm a fan of both of those things.
Yeah.
How do you like your steak though? I think that's an important question.
Medium.
Medium.
I actually was literally just trying to. So I was trying to. I mean, I'm getting into it, and I was trying to reverse sear my steak. So
Ooh, okay.
put it on the grill, or like put it on the top rack in the grill for however long, and get the temperature to whatever, and then just piping hot pan sear it, and it starts pissing rain.
Oh no.
Well, we have like a screened in porch, but it starts pissing sideways, and so the grill's getting all wet, and so I had to abort mission and take it inside. But yeah, I cook it medium. Still getting that down. I'm not the best at it, but
I just got a grill for the first time, like a non-charcoal grill, and it is an absolute game changer. I've been told by a lot of charcoal purists that it's a cheat code, but I don't care. This isn't like a competition. I just want to make the best tasting steak I possibly can. Like, it's amazing having this thing.
Absolutely.
Taylor, I wanted to inquire on something. I know you had said last time that you possibly wanted to become a streamer because you're a big gamer over there. You're like, it might be in the future, like throw the headset on, get a little Twitch stream going up. Any progress on that, or did you decide like not for me?
Oh man, I have not played video games in like upwards of 4 months.
Wow.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm not a video
I
game
had
dude.
I had big ambitions, and
yeah, you did.
things kind of happen, and so I haven't played. Like I was a huge Fortnite guy. I probably still am, but it's like now that I've gotten out of it, I have my PS4 here, I have my desktop here, and I haven't even hooked it up. Like,
wow.
Or I have when I've been bouncing around place to place just the way it goes. Like, I didn't get one singular place for here, but I had it hooked up at another place when I was early on when I was at, and I played a couple times, but I played Red Dead Redemption. I started that too. I never played that before. And then, but yeah, since I've moved into here, I have not pulled it out or plugged it in. So,
all right, man. I'm not going to tell Zephyr John or any of the guys in Worcester that are huge gamers that I'm sure are probably, I don't know, you've probably played with them in the past, or some of the.
I did play with Zeph quite a bit in the past. Yes.
Yeah, well, I won't let him know that you're not coming back.
He probably sees my profile that says like it hasn't been online in however many days or weeks. So
he's on that every night too. So he lets me know. He's got a big gaming group that he plays with, but I won't let him know you retired. I'll let you tell him that. But Taylor, we appreciate all the time and hopping on and kind of taking us through the rehab journey and just what you've been up to and everything. And obviously, we're looking forward to 2025, seeing you back on that mound, wherever it is. But we're definitely going to be pulling for you. But thank you for hopping on.
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all having me, and hope y'all have a great night.